and welcome. My name is NOVARIS, and today I'd like to speak to you about the Magicka Nightblade build for the Summerset chapter. So there's a few differences between this build and the previous build. The first noticeable difference is that I'm not using Witchmothers Potent Brew at the moment. That's because I can actually sustain quite well with max health, max Magicka food. So that would be Salmon Solitude Millet food. And the reason that I can sustain so well is because the synergies are still going to be available in a trial situation. There will also be minor Magicka Steel applied to other enemies, and if I can, I'll be using Rearming Trap instead of Channel and Focus. I'll go over the new skill line and any of the other differences later on in the video. If you still want to use Witchmothers Potent Brew and you're completely confident with keeping the damage up and having lower health, that's absolutely fine. But if you do want to play a wee bit safer and still have better sustain, what you could do is use Witchmothers Potent Brew or Clockwork Citrus Filet and move maybe 8 points from Magicka into health. Or you could put some health glyphs on some of the set pieces that you have. Okay, so I'm going to go over the DPS tests, then the gear setup, the skill points, the champion points, and then finally the rotation.
Yo, all these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. What am I doing, did I do it right, yeah. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. I can't think straight, need the light. I need to breathe, get me up and out of the sheets. Onto my feet, another cup of coffee and me, that's what I need. My eyes puffy, I can't see, I'm too tired to function but too lost to sleep. Ay, I think I need to be on something medication. I think I need to figure out the segregation. I think I needed just a better education to understand a world that's so complicated. Intoxicated, every night faded, just so I can sleep thinking that it's Satan. I feel hated, I feel hatred, I'm lost deep in my mind that I've created. I have dreams where my life is devastated, feel so real that I wake up shaking. Need thicker skin cause this life is no haven. Nod your head if you get what I'm saying. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. What am I doing, did I do it right, yeah. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. I can't think straight, need the light, yo. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. What am I doing, did I do it right, yeah. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. I can't think straight, need the light. I don't really think I understand this world now. Got my head spinning round in a circle. Everybody lacks what they need internal, so they compensate with everything external. Not trying to throw shade, no way. I'm just trying to find a meaning of life, hey. There's happiness if you try to live the right way. Forget about what others have and live your life, hey. Be aware of who you are, what you're good at. Take a step forward, see where your foot's at. Stand tall, stand proud, talk loud. Every word out your mouth has purpose now. You just gotta get rid of the bad thoughts. Hating others cause you know that they gotta lie. Forget that though, you got plenty, you're alive in this life. You got time, go get it. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. What am I doing, did I do it right, yeah. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. I can't think straight, need the light, oh. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. What am I doing, did I do it right, yeah. All these thoughts keep me up at night, yeah. I can't think straight, need the light, oh.
Okay, so let's go over the gear setup. So at the moment I'm running an Inferno Staff of Mother's Sorrow. The enchantment I'm running is the Undead and Daedra, but what you would usually run is the Flame enchantment unless you're doing certain fights. At the moment I was using that glyph for the Maw of Lorcag final boss Rakat. I have an Infused trait, and the Mother's Sorrow set basically gives us a large amount of spell critical and there's a substantial amount of damage added just because we've got the 4th and 5th piece bonus on the front bar only, because we'll be doing most of our single target spammables on the front bar. So that's where most of our damage comes from, basically. I have the Maelstrom's Inferno Staff on the back bar with a Berserker enchantment and an Infused trait. The reason this is still useful, despite being able to access 2 more set pieces from other sets, is because our light and heavy attacks deal more damage when we have our Wall of Elements down, and that scales up. This patch is all about light and heavy attacks, so this set is even more useful than it used to be. So I have 2 pieces of Zaan. Ideally you would want to have a heavy helm and a medium shoulder, but it doesn't matter largely. It's for resistance differences. On the large pieces you want to have an Infused trait, and on the small pieces you want to have a Divine's trait. You want to have maximum Magicka on all of the gear set pieces. So this is quite an important set to be using, just because the if I'm in close proximity to an enemy, it's preferred over all the other monster sets. It does 5k flame damage every second, and this increases quite substantially over time. And provided that the beam's not broken, it's going to be doing more DPS than any of the other options. If you're wanting some AoE damage and some ranged damage, you could go with Alambris. If you're wanting to hit a highly mobile target from a range, then you could go with Valkynscoria. The other benefit of Valkynscoria is that it gives you a 1-piece bonus of health. So if you want to run Witchmothers Potent Brew and you're not comfortable with 15k health, that's a very sensible set to use. So I'm also using the new set, which is Sororia, so the Mantle of Sororia set. So this piece this piece is infused as well. You want to have the chest and the legs infused as well, and then all of the other pieces in Divines. The 3 item bonus will give us Minor Slayer, and then the 5th piece bonus is what makes it most useful. So it says here that you stack spell damage, 30 spell damage, and it stacks 20 times. So you can get 600 spell damage just from having this active, but you do need to stay relatively still within the circle to be able to get that full bonus. I believe that when you move in and out of the ring you don't lose it right away, but you do want to stay relatively still. Okay, so we also have the Mother's Sorrow jewellery here, and you'll notice that I'm running 1 piece of Bloodthirsty. I've not had a chance to run more than 1 Bloodthirsty piece on the Magicka Nightblade. However, I've noticed that this substantially increases the DPS towards the end of the fight. However, the overall parse is exactly the same. This is just what I've found, so if you run 3 Arcane or 2 Arcane, 1 Bloodthirsty, it's up to you. Okay, so let's go over the skills. So on the front bar with the Mother's Sorrow Staff, we have Crippling Grasp, Merciless Resolve, Elemental Weapon, Impale, Inner Light, and Fiery Rage. So because we have Crippling Grasp, we get access to the Magicka Flood bonus of 8% more maximum Magicka, while also doing a high amount of damage, a single target amount of damage for 8 seconds. Once the 8-second duration has run out, you need to reapply as soon as possible. But the benefit of this skill is quite substantial because it gets access to both set bonuses, and it's also one of the highest damage attacks. Merciless Resolve, this provides us with 2 things as well. It gives us Minor Berserk, increasing our damage by 8% over 20 seconds. Because it's an assassination ability, we also get assassination ability passives. But the other major bonus from Merciless Resolve is on the 5th light attack or heavy attack we get access to a spectral bow, and we need to use that as soon as possible. There is a noise indicator, but if you've practiced enough you will be able to identify when this is going to be available. You need to use it as soon as possible though. The next skill, Elemental Weapon, this is part of the Psijic Order skill line. It's cheaper spammable now than some of the other options. So the other option we had was Funnel Health, which is 2430, and there is another option as well, Crushing Shock, 2430. So this is going to be preferred over both of those skills because it does more damage and it's also more cheap. So basically you're going to want to do light attack weaving with this skill. If you're not competent with light attack weaving, it might be better to use Crushing Shock or Funnel Health, because it adds 8.8k magic damage, and it also has a chance to apply burning, concussed or chilled elemental status effects. So it's a very, very powerful skill. We also, because of this skill, get access to the Psijic Order passives. So when we block, we get a 5k shield. Whenever we're doing damage with this attack, spell charges will accumulate, and then on the 5th spell charge, an orb will fire off towards the enemy. And you'll see that, or will have seen that in the DPS clips. Okay, and then there's also the fact that when you're casting this ability, you'll take 30% less damage. You won't be able to heal yourself like you did with Funnel Health, so it's quite sensible to run Refreshing Path with Elemental Weapon if it's a more healing intensive fight. So we have Impale here. We don't actually use this skill for quite a lot of the fight, so the first 75% health of the enemies, this skill is not going to be used, but once the enemy is in execute range, you can use this skill. It's going to do 300% more damage at that point. It's also cheaper than Elemental Weapon, so it's quite sensible to use that then. I have Inner Light here because it gives us passively 5% just having it slotted, but also if we have a look at the Mage's skill line, we also get some bonus from the Magicka controller passive. So in this bar we get 2% more. And then finally, Fiery Rage. So it's one of the strongest ultimates in the game, if not the strongest. We're going to use this at the start of the fight, and also if we're playing ranged, we want to use this more often than not. On the back bar I have Refreshing Path. This skill is really important. It gives us some healing, but it also does some damage. It has a long duration of around 12 seconds. It's actually 11 seconds. 11.5 seconds, but we want to keep this skill up all the time. It stacks with other refreshing paths, so if there's other Magicka Nightblades using this skill, you do get heal ticks from all of the refreshing paths. I have Blockade of Fire here. It's one of the strongest abilities again, because when an enemy is burning, they take 20% more damage from this ability. It's relatively cheap, and just like Crippling Grasp, it's got an 8-second duration, so it can be quite difficult to keep both of these up all the time on console, but you should try and keep all of these skills up, so Blockade of Fire, Refreshing Path and Crippling Grasp. I have Siphoning Attacks here. This is for sustain purposes, but it does also give us the Magicka Flood bonus. You need to let the full duration play out, so instead of refreshing this every 20 seconds, you want to leave it to every 21 seconds so that you can get the bonus Magicka return at the end. I have Dampen Magicka here. This is just preferred by myself. You need to have all light armor pieces intact or not damaged to the point there's nothing left, and basically you just activate this whenever you need to mitigate damage. So Channeled Acceleration, this is the second Psijic Order skill that I have on the bar. The reason this is so important is because it gives us minor force for 36 seconds. So it's going to increase our damage by 10% for 36 seconds, which is a really, really long duration. We need to refresh this as soon as it runs out, but that won't be happening very often. Soul Harvest. So this is the second ultimate that we're going to use. The reason we have this is so that we can get the bonuses from the assassination abilities. Skills here. but the other added bonus of it is that it does a substantial amount of damage for very little ultimate. So if you're within execute range, or if you're in a close quarters fight, then this is a preferred skill over the Destruction Staff ultimate. Okay, so let's go over the champion points. At the moment I'm running 56 points into Elfborn, 49 points into Elemental Expert, 27 points into Spell Erosion, 14 points into Staff Expert, 56 points into Master at Arms, and 48 points into Thaumaturge. I'll just show you the rest of the CP just now so you can see, but this will vary from trial to trial.